Prime Minister Skerrit leads a delegation to Haiti and the Bahamas in the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew. Minister for Tourism to seek cabinet approval to allow cruise ships to operate their shops and casinos while in port. And police continue to investigate who is responsible for a stash of weapons seized on the port. I'm Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details after this. First up, Prime Minister Skerrit leads a delegation to two Caribbean countries worst hit by Hurricane Matthew. Here is Andrea Louis with more.
Last week, the weather system bore down on Haiti with torrential rains causing flooding and landslides and raising the death toll to approximately 1,000. The Bahamas were not spared the impact of the storm as they too suffered significant damage from the Category 4 hurricane. Mr. Skerrit, who is the current chairman of CARICOM, is leading the region's first response effort to assess the level of damage and destruction in those two Caribbean countries. Just last week Friday, Mr. Skerrit made an appeal to the business community in Dominica to support Haiti and the Bahamas through the establishment of a national Hurricane Matthew disaster relief effort. Government's advisor on disaster management, Cecil Shillingford, will accompany Prime Minister Skerrit on the visit to the hurricane-ravaged countries. Also joining the delegation will be CARICOM's Secretary General, Erwin LaRocque, and Executive Director of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CIDEMA, Ronald Jackson, along with other technical staff. Prime Minister Skerrit is expected to update the nation and the wider region on his observations and interactions with his Haitian and Bahamian counterparts on his return from the disaster-stricken nations.
And Haiti waits with bated breath on its regional counterparts and the international community for aid to continue to pour in. Idona John Baptiste has that story.
The death toll in that CARICOM country has topped 1,000, and according to reports, the authorities have been burying the dead in mass graves because bodies have started decomposing. The United Nations has appealed for $120 million in aid for Haiti as the UN Secretary General recognizes a massive response is needed to help the Creole-speaking country. 1.4 million people are in need there. Petit Louis Axios, the Haitian businessman who owns King's Garments, would like to see those most in need get aid.
Sometimes when Haiti have problem or the country have problem, sometimes they really get fund, but the person really need it, they never get a chance to receive it. I believe we are here to make sure the person really affected get assistance.
As the president of the International Foundation for Development of Haitians, he says he does not want Haitians here to take a back seat.
We cannot do too much because we don't have. But if we come together, what we have, we put it together, and that can do something. We're going to have activity, fundraising activity at Ancoche Hotel 25th of this month, where I invite all Haitians come together for us to see what we can get, what we can collect to assist the people. We had a meeting with the committee. We are ready to travel to Haiti to bring assistance for my people, for our people. I believe if we travel, we delegate one person to go Haiti or 2 or 3 persons to go Haiti, where the place they really affect, they can get what they are for them.
For a Haitian woman living here, she'd appreciate prayers for her homeland. She's yet to speak to some of her relatives impacted by the disaster.
For me, I'm a Christian woman, and I ask people not give something is good, give assistance is good. Remember it in prayer. The places we really need is Leogan, Grantas is Jeremy. I can tell you my family up to now, they don't have a place to stay because everything gone. Jacmel, the village don't have nothing, stays, all the house go in, so those people is and goats. They got they're staying, they don't have house, they don't have nothing.
Have you had any communication with them?
It have one in town, he talked to me about, but those in village I cannot get them. I have the feeling I cannot even though laugh, even though when I eat, when I go and sleep, I remember them because they don't have a place to stay.
Another Haitian businessman who has been living here for 15 years and owns a barber shop in Roseau is calling for the full support of Dominicans for his country.
Nou ka di Dominicain yo, sa ki gen posibilite si yo ka ede Haiti pou nou. Parce ba la se men an men, ou laisse Dominicain qui a un problème, ou laisse Haïti qui a un problème. Si gen Dominicain qui a supporté Haïti, nous ta remen ki yo supporté yo. Moi-même, moi gen 15 ans dans Dominique. Moi pas gen moyen pour moi supporter Haïti, mais si moi te gen moyen, moi t'a supporter yo même gens avec Dominicain yo. Non, et socialement nous même qui là, nous pas gen famille nous qui victime. Mais depuis c'est Haïtien qui victime, c'est nous tous qui victime.
The United States announced $1.5 million in aid available to the Caribbean countries hit by Matthew.
In other news now, the death toll in Haiti following Hurricane Matthew has hit 1,000 as the country battles new deaths from a cholera outbreak and burying bodies in mass graves. Psychologist Carol Soto has told Channel 5 News the Society of Psychologists is seeking to assist Haitians currently based in Dominica manage their grief, shock and sorrow before it reaches a suicidal stage.
We are going to work with the Haitian population that we have here. Our objective really is to ensure that they are not diagnosed with what we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Symptoms of this is normally flashbacks, reliving of the experience, the sadness that they might have. They have palpitations, they have hyperventilations. We do not want that to happen, and that normally happens after 6 months after being presented with the event. Now, our objective really is to prevent that from happening. So we're going to meet them at their homes, we're going to meet them wherever they work, because people who may experience PTSD, it's not only because you were there. So yes, the people who were in Haiti at that time, they may present with it later on. But those who are here, they are hearing about it, they are not sure of what is happening, they are watching the television, etc. Hence, they too can experience PTSD. So we are going to provide some psychosocial support for them within their homes and wherever they may be.
She explained that after such a devastating event, they may experience acute stress, hopelessness, and may not have the desire to do specific tasks anymore.
They will try to cope, but not normal coping, because they will use alcohol to cope during that time. They might have suicidal thoughts. And it's important during that time that they are provided with good social support. And there's a difference between social support and networking, because you could know a lot of people, but really you do not have people you can talk to, relate to what is happening with you. If that is not done, or if they do not get the care that they need during that acute stage, it could go on to depression. The symptoms are normally the same, but it would extend within 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, during a 2-week period of time, every single day they are presented with these symptoms. We have depression. And of course, you do not deal with depression, then we have PTSD. So it is really important that we do early intervention with them through psychological first aid, that they do not get to that diagnosis.
So to explain that functionality was a major factor following such tragic incidents. The Minister for Tourism, Robert Tong, has an idea he intends on pitching to Cabinet on how cruise ships can make more money while in port.
Major cruise lines like Royal, Caribbean and Carnival generate approximately 70% of revenues from ticket sales and the remaining 30% from other services it offers, including shore excursions and onboard spending at their bar, casino, duty-free shops, etc. It's been established that cruise ships are losing revenue in the sale of shore excursions to Dominica's sites because of underpricing by taxi drivers. This is a matter that has been bugging tourism authorities for far too long.
With the advent of the internet and also with the advent of certain things that happened with the dispatch system, where many drivers felt that they weren't getting a fair turn, a lot of them began to go outside. So what that has done now, as opposed to the ship making that high percentage, they are now sharing that with all the other persons, so the independents and the private tours. So obviously their revenue has been adversely impacted If that trend continues, then the ships begin to say, hey, it does not make sense to come to this country.
To get Dominica to have a stronger advantage of getting on cruise lines' itinerary, Tong thinks it makes a lot of economic sense to permit the ships to open their shops and casinos while docked on the port. According to a survey, 80% of passengers gamble on cruise holidays. While Tong acknowledges it will take some time to change that policy, he wants to get the support of his cabinet colleagues on that proposal.
But when the ships are in port, you better realize that they cannot open their casino, they cannot open their shops. What we've realized, most persons go back on the ship by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And then they too are giving us a low score. Those who stay on the ship, because remember, you're in a mall, it's closed. So what we want to do is to get the ships to be able to open their casinos at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now you can well imagine, many times you see the vessel leave at 5 o'clock. And it's out there on the horizon. You're wondering, but why is the ship out there on the horizon doing nothing? It is there because they left the port because they wanted to open their shops and open their casinos to generate revenue. If we can allow them to do that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, here's the possibilities it opens up. And they have also confirmed that. One, it means they can have more than one tour. If the vessel does not have to leave immediately to go to another island, it means you can have sunset tours, which means more revenue generated for the country, more revenue generated for the ship. If the casinos are open, it means they begin to make money there. So again, all of that revenue is going to be associated with coming to Dominica.
And as Dominica observed World Mental Health Day on Monday, individuals who were affected by Tropical Storm Erica, who currently reside in Dubique, have been receiving some counseling. On Saturday, the Society conducted an exercise with the residents of Dubique who were relocated to Granby following Tropical Storm Erica. PRO of the Dominica Psychological Society, Leslie Ann Waldron, says survivors are still going through psychosocial challenges which need to be addressed.
Because they lived within a shelter structure for almost 10 months after Erica. So we went down there, and with aid of agencies such as the Sign Man, we had Jolly's, ACS on board, Ruben's Bakery. We did a signage project where we actually did numbering of the houses, because there are 47 houses down there, and people, you know your house number, but there's no signage. So we did that. The people are very excited about that. We also did informal psychological support, where we spoke with them, identified what were their challenges, but we did that in some of a social ways. So we had snacks, we had a little engagement with them. So members actually met with them, we visited their homes, and we must say the people from Dubique, they hold a high sense of pride. However, they are of a level of humility, and they appreciate so much what we did for them.
Residents will continue to receive psychological help.
That the entire community had to be relocated due to the impact of the storm. So working with them, and not just in terms of psychosocial first aid, which is very important, but also trying to help them to live in that independent community that they have been relocated to, and giving them the skills that they will need to deal with their children, deal with themselves, look at self-esteem issues. So all that comes in with psychological first aid.
A parenting literacy and income-generating program will be conducted for residents during the next visit. The society was formed in 2015. You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, the new chairman of the Canefield Urban Council and the MP for the area, all calling for the community to work together. Thank you for staying with us. Investigators have been interviewing people as they try to solve a recent discovery of illegal firearms and ammunition in a barrel from the U.S. Police Chief Daniel Carbon told Channel 5 News on Monday afternoon that while no one was in police custody up to news time, the police have interviewed people in connection with that matter. On the question of this being a smuggling ring involving customs and police officers, Carbon told the media recently he did not want to speculate. The country's 2011 Firearms Act gives the police chief the authority to grant permits for the importation of firearms and ammunition and approve licenses for the use of such artillery.
You're interested in acquiring a firearm, I would advise that before you import the firearm, it is better to seek a license to possess a firearm. Because bringing in a firearm into the state whether you bring it through an import permit, providing that the chief approves it, or you bring it with the expectation that you will get a license for it. It is better you seek the license and seek approval from the chief of police by granting you the license, and so following which an import permit will be granted to you, because you will already have had a license to use a firearm.
The police chief would also have to exercise discretion in permitting one to own a firearm, since there are those which the law does not permit here.
There is a firearm dealer's license. And so again, the chief has a discretion to determine what amount of firearms and what amount of ammunition a dealer can bring in. However, regardless of the amount of firearm or ammunition, every firearm goes into the police armory. So after it is processed, your license is approved, it is processed, your firearm and your ammunition go into the police armory. And so the dealer processes his application, and applicants who want to own and possess a firearm process their application. On condition that it is approved, and the firearm that you want to get, it will be withdrawn from the armory by the dealer, providing that your application is approved.
And the new chairman of the Canefield Urban Council has called on members of the municipality to help move the area forward by working together. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the Canefield Urban Council, Chairman Maxime Powell encouraged residents to help the council create a model community.
As of today, we are a team of 8 councillors who are ready to serve you, the residents of Canefield, and our goal is to turn Canefield into a model community. However, I want to emphasize that while we have our goals, we cannot do it alone. We need you, the residents, irrespective of your religious belief, political affiliation, race, color, or creed, to be on board. Canefield is blessed with an abundance of resources, especially human resources. Hence, we need all the brains and ideas to turn our community around.
Powell says the council plans on continuing to work closely with the Member of Parliament and the government to ensure the development of Canefield.
We will work very closely with our parliamentary representative, Honorable Reuben Blackmore, and the government of Dominica to ensure that our plans and activities are supported and implemented. As you all know, our infrastructure, that is our roads and drains, are in a deplorable condition and require urgent attention. Therefore, I ask Mr. Blackmore and the Prime Minister to give some attention to the Canefield community, especially for the rehabilitation of our roads. Some of the other areas which will be at the forefront of our agenda are sports and recreation facilities for the community. We want to also address the welfare and well-being of our elderly.
The 8-member Canefield Urban Council reads Maxime Powell, Chairman, Michael Coppell, Michael Timothy, Joyce Dupy, Ingrid Abraham, Aline Wilson, Franklin Fabian, and Veronica Graham. Meantime, the former chairman of the council urged Canefield residents to put differences aside and help the council to execute projects for the betterment of the area.
For many years, the council performed by collecting well over $170,000 to $80,000 in taxes annually from residents. But I can tell you, over the few years gone by, and more so within the last 9 years, it became more challenging for the council to collect taxes. And the reason for that, I want to say today, is because of the many things that were being said by those who somehow had disagreements with persons who were elected or in some cases nominated to the council. So I do urge them to pay the taxes. The council does need the money.
The Kentfield Urban Council serves the areas of Wavincock to Checkhall. Meantime, Member of Parliament for Maho constituency has pledged his support to the development of Kentfield. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the council over the weekend, Chairman Maxime Powell pointed to areas of concern to the council and residents. Honorable Reuben Blackmore, under whose constituency Kentfield falls, promised to help develop the area along with the council.
I give you my full commitment in working with you in order to ensure that the people of Kentfield are properly serviced. At the end of the day, we owe it to the people of Kentfield, councillors, and my good friend. In the coming months, we will continue to place emphasis on the roads in the entire Kentfield area. I know you have been asking for a truck, and communications was established with me on a number of occasions by your outgoing chairman. I want to say to you, by next week Friday, that truck will be handed over to the Kentfield Urban Council.
Blackmore says ensuring the safety of residents from natural disasters is another major concern.
We have spent thus far, the Minister for Works is there, millions of dollars in dredging of the various rivers. But, my dear friends, that is not enough. There are river walls to be constructed in critical areas, including Checkhall Valley, including the Kentfield Housing Scheme area, especially by Mr. Blair's area, Upper River Estate, etc. And as I speak with you, the estimates and evaluations are being done in that regard.
The MP reminded the gathering that government placed great emphasis on education and assists where possible. He cautioned Kentfield residents against abusing the resources provided.
We have made free buses available, private contractors, fully paid by the state, to ensure that the students of Kentfield get to school safely and on time. That is what I stand for, my dear friends. That in everything that is being done, you have to ensure that you try to avoid abuse. I believe in assisting people, but I do not tolerate nonsense. It is not fair to expect the state to provide buses for college students because they have different times for the classes. And it's also not fair to provide buses for preschool students in Roseau or primary school students in Roseau. We have a nice primary school, the best primary school in the island, Massa Kentfield Primary School.
And teachers are submitting documents which state that they are only approved to work as of September to December of this year, which is not the full academic year. President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Celia Nicholas, made this statement at the teachers' rally on Saturday, where she explained that the full academic year runs up to July.
Initially, when one was unappointed, unqualified, you got a letter from the Public Service Commission saying that you worked from September to July of the next year. And then it continues. If they're satisfied, they give you another period to work. But what we are getting now, that teachers are bringing to us documents which show that they are entitled to work from September to December after being a substitute for 10, 11, 12, and 15 years. These matters need to be regularized. And you notice that the keynote speaker, she did mention that some individuals, because they are not appointed, cannot go to the banks for loans, and this is true.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit recently announced that a few teachers would be appointed soon. However, Nicholas says she needs to see the action.
If you look, for example, the Ministry of Education, the Permanent Secretary is acting. The Chief Education Officer is acting. The Supervisor for Secondary School is acting. The person responsible, the local registrar for CXC, is acting. There are some education officers who are acting. There are principals of primary and secondary schools who are acting. For example, there's one individual who has submitted her retirement. She was a teacher at the Granby Secondary School, qualified, unappointed. She was stepped into the principal of a particular school, unappointed. So you're having about maybe 6 or 7 or 8 of her years working as unappointed. These have repercussions on the gratuity of the individual upon retirement or upon existing from the government service.
Nicholas confirmed that the association was close to 1,000 strong and they are the deciding factor. That's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
First up, although the Dominican squad displayed their best showing at round 2 of the Digicel NBA Jumpstart in Tortola, they were not selected to move on to the final leg in New York. Aliyah Prince, Jacob Barry, Jesse Benjamin, Jonathan Mills, Josh Joseph, Kiefer Francis, and Sujetta Coffey represented Dominica in Tortola. However, 2 girls from the BVI, 2 from Barbados, and 1 Bermudian were chosen to move on to New York. In the boys category, a Trinidadian, 3 Bermudians, an Antiguan, 2 British Virgin Islanders, and 1 boy from Turks and Caicos were chosen. Those basketballers will now move on to New York later this year, where they will get to experience an NBA game and benefit from a basketball scholarship. The Jumpstart program has been contracted for 5 years, with 2016 being its 2nd year. In cricket, Darren Bravo struck 91, Shai Hope 76, and Craig Brathwaite 55 to help bring West Indies to a draw against Pakistan's Cricket Board 11 in a tour match ended Sunday. Pakistan scored 308 batting first, with A. Akmal making 69, I. Ahmed 63, and Shan Masood 58. West Indies in reply scored 279 all out. In the second innings, Pakistan scored 26 for 3. On the football scene, Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers, Caribbean Cool Harlem United, and Petro Caribbean Point Michelle topped the points table as action continued in the 2016 DFA Flow Premier League on the weekend. Gerald George has details.
Friday, Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers walked away with an easy 3 points as RIC Kensborough failed to show up for their match at the Benjamin Park. On Saturday, Petro Caribbean Point Michelle defeated Wacky Rollers 2-0 in the first match of a doubleheader at the Windsor Park Stadium. After a goalless first half, Delbert Graham found the back of the nets twice for Point Michelle to be named the man of the match. In the second match, Travis Joseph and Ludwig Bertrand scored in the first half to guide defending champions Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla Football Club to a 2-0 victory over Exodus Football Club. Travis Joseph was named man of the match, while on Sunday, Sagicor Southeast and Midland United played to a 0-0 draw at the Benjamin Park. Dion Laura was voted man of the match. The league continues on Tuesday with Caribbean Cool Harlem United taking on Exodus Football Club at the Benjamin Park from 6 p.m.
Next up, 2 under-19 teams will represent Dominica at the International Handball Federation Caribbean Tournament in Guadeloupe, where they will compete against regional rivals. Secretary of the Dominica Handball Association and General Manager of the team, Ainsworth Iris, says the squad is hoping to give a good representation of Dominica.
The team looks ready to go, and I can assure you that we will give a good representation of Dominica. Certainly, handball is picking up, and we can only hope later this year, as we prepare for the festival, we will see more young persons coming on board.
The teams comprise 14 boys and girls.
John Gregoire, Denzel the Minister, Donald Charles, Ross Victorin, Nathan Vidal, Jason Daisy, Camille Reggie, Errol John, Nathan Sebastian, Cameron Challenger, Kyle Gordon, Collins Abraham, Mackwell August, and Lenny Paul. We have the girls team, and it reads as follows: Kiana Dorset, Dana Benjamin, Jerry Cedric, Colin August, Sherlyn Joseph, Shirley Zadil, Larissa George, Naisha Joseph, Serena Etienne, Kenaya Ritham, Romelcia Philip, Rachel Serafin, Laurencia Nicole, Malaika Hector, Renita Joseph.
The tournament runs from October 16 to 23, where Dominica will face the likes of Barbados, Trinidad, St. Kitts, Guadeloupe, and Martinique. We head on over to Lindo Park, where upgrade work there will be given a boost thanks to a $50,000 donation compliments the government of Dominica. In an address on Friday, Prime Minister Skerrit said he hopes the donation will help develop Lindo Park into the desired sporting facility.
This $50,000 is our initial contribution as a government. We have always indicated our willingness to partner with the Lindo Park Development Committee. Just that we felt that we needed to ensure that everybody has the information that's required. We know what is going to be done, how it's going to be done, when it's going to be done, what's the cost of doing it, and where we can partner, we are more than willing to partner. We want to ensure that the Lindo Park becomes a shining example of what community people can do together to make things happen for themselves. I've also given them the go-ahead to complete the designs for the indoor sports facility at Stock Farm. The intention of the indoor sports facility is to ensure that we can commence construction in 2017. I have been able to identify the monies for it, and it's a matter for the ministry to do the necessary appropriate preparations, because we believe that it's an important facility for sportsmen and the country as a whole, and also for the possibility of us being able to host regional tournaments.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. We'll see you in the next one.
And now it's time to get some answers as far as the weather is concerned.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather. I'll be your presenter for this evening. Farmer Rock Career. Cloudy to overcast skies with some showers was a dominant weather across Dominica today due to the passage of a tropical wave. Let's move on now to some earlier infrared satellite imagery. And what is of interest to us in the Eastern Caribbean is this area of convection here associated with the tropical wave. We move on now to some earlier visible satellite imagery, and what it showed is this huge area of cloud mass with some thunderstorm cells embedded within this cloud mass across the Eastern Caribbean. Earlier radar imagery of this afternoon shows the shower activity associated with this tropical wave over the Eastern Caribbean as well as over in the Atlantic. Lingering moisture associated with that tropical wave will continue to produce mostly cloudy skies tonight. However, an improvement is expected tomorrow. Fair to partly cloudy skies with slightly hazy conditions are expected, with maximum temperatures peaking up to 33 degrees Celsius. The marine conditions tomorrow will be moderate and waves will be up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea weavers, particularly on the East Coast, should exercise caution. Let's take a look ahead at the weather for the next 3 days. Well, tomorrow, Tuesday, as I said, fair to partly cloudy and slightly hazy, and that weather will continue on to Wednesday. However, Thursday, another tropical wave will be approaching the region, therefore an increase in cloudiness and shower activity is expected. Well, interesting weather for the rest of the Caribbean. Tomorrow, the northern portion of the islands will expect cloudy skies with some showers. Fair to partly cloudy skies expected for the central portion of the islands, and the southern portion can anticipate some cloudy conditions with some possible thunderstorms tomorrow. On the international scene, beautiful clear skies are expected for the city of New York. Partly cloudy skies for London and Beijing. The city of Caracas can anticipate some thunderstorm activity once more, and overcast skies are expected across Miami. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:56 a.m. and will set at 5:48 p.m. Please remember, we are in the hurricane season. Keep abreast with your weather information. Visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister Skerrit leads a delegation to Haiti and the Bahamas. in the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew. The Minister for Tourism to seek cabinet approval to allow cruise ships to operate their shops and casinos while in port, and police continue to investigate who is responsible for a stash of weapons seized on the port. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews10thOctober2k16a. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris, and to all our viewers around the world, thanks for watching.